What's up, guys? We're back with another video from Tucker Carlson, who is basically a conservative guy in America, and he has his own kind of network. So this one should be incredible, guys. The full conversation with Kyle Rittenhouse sits down with Tucker Carlson to discuss the potential for future riots, because Kyle Rittenhouse, I believe he was defending himself. He actually shot a guy, and we're gonna see his opinion on this one, guys. You know, I like to talk about political stuff too. Let me know what you guys think, and let's get it, baby.
You say the leaders of BLM, who are, at least in some sense, responsible for these riots, get rich and get all this money from corporate America and have 9 houses and become literally millionaires for not doing anything other than destroy things. Is that painful for you to see that?
It's a little weird. It is a little weird to see that. It's essentially getting rewarded for violence.
Yes.
And I don't know how that can be okay. And I don't know how people can donate to causes that they know are going towards buying bricks and billy clubs to bash windows and throw at police officers. That's where.
Well, the thing is, I think when it first started, guys, everyone was on the same wavelength, because when George Floyd got murdered, guys, which was a murder, that was like one of the worst things I've ever seen on the internet, guys. That was horrendous, right? People went crazy, which kind of like is a, you know, I can understand the anger, because when you see that happening, it's absolutely insane. Now, what happens after that, you know, in terms of business and stuff, hell, I don't know, guys. You know, we don't know what happens, but they're presuming that the business side of it was corrupt. I don't know, but I mean, definitely, guys, when he got murdered, it was horrendous, because that was, bro, that was terrible, man.
Where a lot of the money goes, they go towards inciting violence.
So it's been 3 years since we've had these kinds of riots, because that was an election year. We're moving into an election year. Do you think the many people, I think it's the majority of the country, who hate riots, like torch Wendys? How does that help anybody?
Shout out to Wendys. I think we're actually getting a Wendys in Ireland soon, but hopefully nobody burns it down.
The many murders that took place during those riots. Do you think they think that those are the last riots we're going to have?
I think there'll be riots again. I think especially with the election season coming up, the Israel-Hamas war, I think there'll be more Palestinian, because there's a lot of protests with the Palestinians sparking up right now.
Yes.
I think those are going to turn into riots, and that's just my personal belief. I think it's going to spark up the closer we get to an election.
How does gun control land with you?
I don't think that at all, guys. I don't believe that. Palestine, you know, is a country that's going through a genocide now, and they're getting, basically, kids and schools and everything are getting bombed. That had nothing to do with an injustice in America, right? There's an injustice going on in Palestine. That's what's going on, guys. They're getting bombed to oblivion for basically, you know, a retaliation, but it's like they're killing innocent people, so it's not really a retaliation against the military. It's kind of a pseudo retaliation, but yeah, I don't think there'll be riots from that. That doesn't sound like, you know, that wasn't injustice to, you know, black people in America from a cop basically, you know, killing a guy, right, needlessly, right?
You now, when you hear politicians say only our bodyguards, only we should have guns, you're not allowed to have guns, as someone who's actually used a gun to defend his own life, how does that?
Well, our founding fathers were very intentional when they wrote the Constitution. Second Amendment's absolute. We have a right to defend ourselves. We have a right to own firearms, and people talk about, weapons of war, that big scary AR-15, but people don't realize the Constitution, the Second Amendment, it indicates 4 weapons of war.
Right.
It's not just like, I'm going to have a musket. No, they knew we were going to evolve. They knew that there are going to be different types of weapons. They wrote that so we have the ability to protect ourselves.
Exactly, guys, and I love that. You know, in Ireland, we don't have any ability to protect ourselves. We're not allowed knives. We're not allowed guns. We're not allowed anything, guys. But I will say this as well, guys. There are limits to that, okay? You're not allowed to have nuclear fissions in your house and nuclear weapons. Like the average person in America isn't allowed to have nuclear weapons. They are allowed to have certain weapons, and they are curtailed. So there's enough curtailment of that already in the U.S. There doesn't need to be any more curtailment, you know, of guns. Definitely not, guys. Definitely not.
Right. And by the way, if you're waging war on the population, maybe they want weapons of war. Maybe they need them, like, because clearly they are. They burn your cities? I mean, what is that?
Yeah, I have no idea what I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to strip away the rights of citizens. Like, oh, we're just going to compromise 10 rounds. That's all you need. It's like, we're just going to take your 30 round magazines, your standard capacity AR-15 mags. We're going to take your pistol braces. And then it goes from, we're going to take the AR-15s. You don't really need one. And then we're going to take your shotguns.
Of course.
And then we're going to take your pistols, and you're left defenseless. You're left to not put food on the table for your family because there's a lot of hunters. I know you're a big hunter.
Yes.
A lot of people, they go out, and it's deer season in Texas right now, rifle season. A lot of people go out and they hunt and get their tag limit for their deer, and they feed their family throughout the year with what they hunt and harvest.
Yeah.
Like, Americans don't understand how much freedom they actually have. When it comes to, like, petrol prices, it's just ridiculous compared to Europe. In Europe, we basically have no freedom. In my personal opinion, maybe a little bit more in, like, Eastern Europe, where, I'm half Czechoslovakian, thank God. But in places like Ireland, guys, it's basically like a curtailed U.S. It's basically what they want the U.S. to be, but really curtailed. No guns, no anything, no real freedom of speech here. You can't speak out against the church. They're actually trying to bring in more, negativity. Like, they're trying to bring in, if you have memes on your phone or negative, which could mean anything. I mean, you could state a fact and you could go to jail for 12 months. So there's this really bad stuff that's brewing, definitely. But in the US, guys, they don't know how much freedom they have, but they're trying to prevent the shit that's going on in Europe. So I totally get it, guys. I understand the Americans completely, bro. Like, completely.
Chemical-free meat. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, so what is you're in Texas, it sounds like most of the time. What kind of response do you get from people?
I get a lot of side eyes.
What's a side eye?
I'll be sitting in a restaurant, and then people will just be like, start staring at me, and then they'll pull out their phone and they'll just try to sneak pictures of me.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Has that improved your table manners or no?
No, it's definitely worse because sometimes I'll pull out my phone and I'll act like I'm taking a picture of them. Really not. I'm just checking social media, going on X or something. But I'll act like I'm taking a picture of them and be like, how do you like it?
Shout out to X. And obviously, he shouldn't be upset for being in the public eye, guys. I don't particularly like Kyle Rittenhouse or anything like that. I don't really care for him at all. I think he's kind of, he speaks a bit kind of weird. But I will say this, guys. He does stand for freedoms, and we love that over here in County Gaines. But the guy himself, I mean, I don't think he should really care about if people are taking pictures of you. I mean, people probably take pictures of everybody all the time. I don't really care, guys, right?
Yeah, people wouldn't like that.
Exactly. There's been a lot of support. Walking into your studio today, there was actually a gentleman who asked to take a picture with me. I'm not going to say where you're at because I know you're concerned for your safety as well, because there's a lot of crazy people out there. But very nice gentleman asked if he can take a picture. He recognized me from our first interview. He saw us where we filmed that. And
do you get that a lot?
Absolutely. I get a lot of support. Yesterday I was at my hotel. I was carrying in a meatball marinara sub from Subway.
Good for you.
Delicious. And somebody stopped, and I declined a picture at first because I didn't look great.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah. Well, not everybody can be Tucker Carlson.
Right.
But I was like, no, I'm sorry, because I was starving, but ended up having like a 20-minute conversation with them and took a picture with them. They played with my dog, Milo, and nice people. There's a lot of nice people out there that are very supportive and want to take a picture, and that's just a glimpse of what my life is like.
Well, that's great. There was, in the exchange that you had recently, in an interview that you just did, the one that I referred to earlier, that I did feel scolding you for living. But there was one point that is actually a fair question, which is like, what did that, I mean, you defended yourself. I think every man in that position would do the same, I hope. But it's got to come at a cost to you. I mean, that's a lot of violence. That's a lot of drama for a 17-year-old. Like, how did that affect you, actually?
Well, I have PTSD. There's times where I wake up in the middle of the night with nightmares or sweating because I'm thinking about what happened.
Yes.
It's not an easy thing to deal with. It's something I go through every single day. It's
really?
Something that has kind of consumed my life, with having to get over that trauma, which
that kind of sucks, because I know, like, in the American military, I know in the Irish military too, we go off to war as well, but especially in the US military, guys, they have to fight wars and stuff. So you get like 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds killing loads of people, So like living with that sucks. But also, if the person is innocent, if someone's gonna kill you and you shoot them first, I would feel absolutely zero remorse, guys. Just me personally, like that's just self-defense. But you know, he obviously is quite young as well, so
Working on.
I believe it. I mean, I would liken it to, you know, I'm sure you've known people, I certainly have, who've taken life in war, and no one comes up to them and says, you know, how dare you shoot someone and, you know, who's trying to kill you. Everyone understands that that's allowed, necessary, but it doesn't mean it's not hard on you.
No, absolutely. It's something very difficult. I talked about my dog a little bit ago, Milo.
Yes.
He's my service dog, and he's helped me through a lot. I actually dedicated my book to him.
Oh.
I wrote an entire chapter about him.
What kind of dog?
He's a golden retriever.
Oh,
And why is...
Listen, I love golden retrievers. They are the best dog. That dog will lie by your grave when you're dead, guys. That thing is the most loyal dog, man.
that been... Flesh it out if you don't mind. Why has that been important to have a dog?
Well, sometimes you just feel very alone.
Yes.
Sometimes, like, you just need to de-wind, and he knows, like, if I'm not waking up from a nightmare and he knows I'm having a bad dream, he'll, like, physically wake me up, and he'll just be there for me and support me in a way. And dogs are non-judgmental. They're
Yes, they
amazing
are.
creatures. And that is the one person I know without a doubt I can always count on and I can always trust, and I know he's never going to let me down.
And you really feel that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel that too. No, I think you're 100% right. So do you, I mean, I could talk about dogs for hours, but but do you actually think, like, watching your life since you've gotten this dog, do you think your life has improved?
I think it's helped me in many aspects of my life, especially the therapeutic part of training him.
Yes.
Seeing the dog's ability of what those dogs are capable of.
Yes.
It's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely amazing, guys. We're gonna end it there, but yo, get a dog. If you guys are lonely or anything like that, man, dogs is the greatest animal. It's man's best friend, and we mean women as well. If you're a woman and you're lonely, guys, dogs are unbelievable. They literally make life a lot better, you know, for sure, guys. So cool review of that, guys. Will there be a riot soon? I definitely don't agree with the Palestine thing. That's kind of like an injustice in a different country, but hey, guys, what do I know, man? I'm just a guy on YouTube giving my opinion. Let me know what you guys all think too. I love you all, man. I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.